$73 billion. That is what the Canadian government has spent in the past decade alone on immigration. The Canadian taxpayer, you and me, have supplied $73 billion with a B to immigrants. This is at the same time that the middle and lower class in Canada are disappearing like never before. The government is literally subversing the will of the people. 75% of Canadians say we cannot withstand any more immigration in this country. Q1 2025, it was just announced another 800,000 between permanent and temporary residents in this country. You cannot say that Canada is a democratic country when 3/4, as overwhelming a number of people on any issue, agree that we have too much immigration, yet the government continues to allow people in. This is a government that is actively working against the best interest of Canadian citizens. There is no other way to define what is going on in Canada right now. You will not find as overwhelming a consensus on any topic as 75% saying enough is enough, yet they continue to allow people to pour in. And there are two reasons for this. Are betrayers of government officials who are actively working against Canadians. First and foremost, Mark Carney, everybody knows his relationship with Brookfield that he lied about during the entirety of his campaign to become Prime Minister of Canada. Brookfield owns over $37 billion worth of real estate in Canada, and he needs to continue to see those numbers pump up. What's the easiest way to continue to have those numbers pumping up? The easiest way is to continue to allow hundreds of thousands of people to pour in every quarter. Damn the middle and lower classes in Canada. Those asset values will continue to pump. You look at a chart beginning in 2015 when Justin Trudeau was elected and he allowed the faucet completely open on immigration. His woke nonsense. Ever since then, prices both in terms of rentals and purchasing houses have shot up like a rocket in Canada. Shot up like a rocket. It's a perfect one-to-one correlation since Trudeau's election in 2015, and rental prices becoming more and more ridiculous for medium and lower class Canadians who this government actively hates. Brookfield Asset Management, like I said, the value of their real estate in Canada has more than doubled since 2015. Carney, looking out for his buddies in the 0.01%, needs to continue to pump those numbers up. So damn the Canadian people, damn what they want. We're going to continue to allow hundreds of thousands, nearly 800,000 Q1 2025, despite the polling numbers. This guy lies like we breathe. Carney can barely get a sentence out of his mouth. But sure, he can allow nearly a million immigrants a quarter Q1 2025. Second part of the reason, 73 billion Canadian taxpayer dollars since 2015 spent on immigration. Cloward Pivven strategy, a well-known left-wing strategy going all the way back to the 60s. Divide and conquer, essentially. They want to disrupt our civilization so badly that they can overtake it with their far-left communist plan for everybody to live in prefab housing, have some sort of a carbon measurement system attached to them. It's a very sick global initiative. For those who don't follow, Carney follows it's called the Century Initiative. A bunch of these globalist WF Davos platforms put out, they want 100 million citizens in Canada by the year 2100. They do not view Canada as a country with a proud history, Charter of Rights and Freedoms that guarantees us freedom of expression, freedom of religion. They don't give a damn about Canadians who have ancestors who fought World War I, World War II. They view this as a potentially very valuable mass of land, second largest land mass of any country in the world, to make money on. That's exactly what they see Canada as. It's disgusting. You'll notice that Carney had talked a big game during the election about all these programs that he was going to get off the ground and running. One of the very few that he actually has made progress on is prefab housing. $25 billion in prefab housing. Oh, I wonder why that's one of the very few projects he's got the ball rolling on. The reason is because Brookfield just purchased a company called Modular. Guess what they do? Prefab housing. Again, Carney is running this country as though he was still the CEO, executive vice chair of Brookfield Asset Management, not our prime minister. The government does everything they can to hide these numbers. I've been submitting FOI requests for data on immigration spending for years, and they refuse to get back to us. These numbers are leaking. Can you imagine? $73 billion. We cannot repeat it enough. That is $73 billion stolen from the Canadian taxpayer and spent on immigration in the year 2020 alone. $29 billion. Can you imagine with them doling out all our money, $20 billion to Ukraine, $73 billion to immigrants, while a record 2 million Canadians are using food banks on a day-to-day basis? Youth unemployment in Canada is at the highest it's been at in decades. It's over 17%. And our government continues to shovel money to foreigners as well as outside causes. It is not an exaggeration to say this is a treasonous government who is actively working against the Canadians' best interest. There's no doubt about it. Carney through Bill C2, C4, C63 is trying to shut dissidents up in this country. Shut them up. Bill C2 will now allow the government, if passed, to consider any Canadian who has a computer to be an electronic device provider, and if in the national security interest, they can access any Canadian's communications without letting them know. They can also open any Canadian's mailbox without letting them know. How is that in the best interest of Canadians? Mark Carney, let me guess your answer is going to be, Bill C4 retroactively absolves the Liberal Party of any misuse of Canadian data that they have collected since the year 2000. I kid you not. Absolves them for the past 25 years. Can you imagine how much misuse of data there is if this bill needs to go back that far? My God, it's truly disgusting. And they think the Canadian people won't notice. They stick this at the back of bills. Mark Carney and the Liberal Party are actively traitorous. Bill C63, the so-called Online Harms Act, sets out something called the Digital Safety Commission, 10 unelected bureaucrats and ombudsmen. Any Canadian citizen can report another citizen to this so-called Safety Commission. And if they believe you are likely to say something hateful in the future, I kid you not even that you've said anything, if they believe you are likely to say something hateful in the future, you can be put under house arrest with an ankle bracelet. You can be thrown in jail for life for so-called incitement to genocide. It expands the so-called hate speech to include vilification or detestation. They are actively subversing the Canadian people. They are throwing our country away, and they are making it illegal to criticize them. This Liberal government led by Mark Carney is the most dangerous government in Canadian history. They are setting our money on fire. We are one of the most high-taxed first world countries in the world, and look at what they're doing with our goddamn money. They are spitting in our faces. It's time that Canadian patriots stood up and fought back against these wannabe dictators. Carney makes such a disgusting human being. Hasn't even spent his adult life in Canada, yet somehow he's the prime minister. This man was installed much more than he was elected. I'm setting up rallies Saturday, September 13th, Saturday, September 27th, Parliament Hill. Canadian patriots welcome. I want to get tens of thousands of people out there. Same day as the UK and Tommy Robinson are holding their protest. The Canadian people need to stand up. I know it's hard to take time out of your day, but we have to actually physically get in the streets. Otherwise, nothing's going to change. Saturday, September 13th, Saturday, September 27th, Parliament Hill. I'm nearly 10K followers on TikTok, and Canadian politicians don't like distance. So please, if you're not following now, follow me on YouTube, youtube.com/@FightForCanada2025, youtube.com/@FightForCanada2025. All my uncensored content is there, links in the bio. If you're interested in supporting, the link on my YouTube bio has some great merch. Subscribe to my Substack. Canadian patriots are taking this country back. We're not laying down. Will these thieves rob from us anymore?